In this installation video, we'll be covering the basic assembly sequence for your Skyline skylights metal frame Polygon Skylight. These video instructions are provided as a helpful supplement to aid the installation of your skylight. Please refer to written installation instructions and project-specific shop drawing notes for important considerations prior to beginning your skylight installation. Completely read all notes and understand all details and instructions prior to beginning installation. If anything is not clear, please ask ahead of time.
So we're going to start off by verifying the curve is the right size. So we're going to first measure our black flat. That's right. Then we're going to go to our tip to tip. So everything looks good there. Just kind of double check a couple places, make sure the curve is still the right size and square. Which everything looks like it's pretty good there. So after verifying the curve is square and the right size, the next thing you do is take some silicone, put a good bead of silicone around to set the skylight in. Probably about the size of your finger is a good place to start. So it's a nice big thick bead of silicone for the curve to get squished down into. This is just demonstration purposes only, so we're gonna just pretend the silicone is for now, but this black Sharpie would represent the silicone. You'd want a big bead about the size of this Sharpie all the way around your curve. So the next thing you do after your curve is silicone and ready to go, next thing we'll be to do is take the skylight curve and set it in place. So then after the skylight curve is in place, the next thing to do is take the drill, pre-drill your mounting holes for your leg bolts. So when you are drilling multiple screws together, you're not going to split your curve out. So you always want to pre-drill your holes. Taking a socket and leg screw to get everything screwed down. And you'll obviously repeat this process the whole way around the skylight, get all the bolts in place. So now that the sill's all in place, everything's bolted down and ready to go. We've got our rafters all unboxed and laid out. They're all numbered from 1 to 8. The places they go on the curb, everything's numbered on the curb, so now everything goes. So now we'll just kind of grab our compression ring and our number 1 rafter. There are some pre-drilled holes, so we'll just start kind of putting everything back together. The cup's also labeled inside where it goes. Then we'll grab the number 5 rafter, so we have the rafter on the opposite side. After getting the rafters and the cup kind of started, we'll kind of start the assembly of the skylight now. So now it's just a matter of sliding bolts in. And at this point, it's kind of better just to kind of loosely fasten everything to get all the rafters in place and all the through bolts in, all the nuts in, and then come back and tighten everything once all the rafters are in place. So after getting 2 rafters in place and the cup in place, everything's just kind of loosely bolted together, we'll start putting the rest of the rafters in place now. And from here we'll just continue around doing the same thing I just did, put 1 rafter in and a through bolt in at a time until we get all the rafters into place. So after getting everything loosely set in place and all the bolts in the rafters. We'll come back around now and tighten everything down. Then once after all the screw bolts are tightened down, we'll jump back and put the rest of the screws and the rafters into the cup. And this typically is done with a number 14 tech screw, so it's a self-tapping screw. And then now that we're done with that, we're ready to start putting purlins into the frame. The next step, we've got all of our purlins laid out into place. Everything on the purlins is still numbered 1 through 8 with the rafters, so everything goes in its corresponding place. So now that we've got everything laid out, the next step is to start siliconing all the purlins into place and then screwing everything into place. And the reason everything gets silicone here is just for water, so the water runs into the rafter and not underneath the purlin, causing water somewhere else. So we're just going right down this channel of the rafter. And then the purlins are going to get set into that bed of silicone. And the rafters are already pre-drilled, and so are the purlins, so it's just a matter of putting screws into the holes and tightening everything down. On this part, I would suggest either using a hand screwdriver or a drill with the torque setting, because these screws strip out very easily. And each purlin gets 4 screws in it. So now that all the purlins are siliconed and screwed down into place, we're going to start setting all of our sill closure out into place, and everything is still numbered and labeled in its corresponding place. So it's just a matter of coming back, setting everything in place. And we're just loosely doing this for now because we'll still have to come back and silicone everything together and pop everything together as we're going. This is just kind of get everything into place. So the next thing to do is, once you kind of get everything loosely in place, is to get a square or tape measure and come back and kind of mark where all of your pop rivets are going to go, because you're going to get 2 at each corner, well, where the overlap's at. So this corner has a tab on it, so the pop rivets are going to go through this piece into the tab. So we're going to put a pop rivet, one up at the top and one down at the bottom, about an inch up from the bottom and about an inch down from the top, just so we grab that tab. And we're going to come in about a ½ inch so we have good engagement on the tab. And I'll mark all the corners around, all the way around, so we know where the pop rivets go, so they're all in the same place. So also while I'm marking, I'm going around and marking all of the center pop rivets that go from the sill closure into the sill also, just so they're pre-marked. Alright, now that that's done, we'll start the installation of the sill closure. So we'll get everything silicone together and pop riveted in place. Now at this point, this is still for demonstration purposes only, so I'm going to leave all the masking on this. You can drill the holes and then come back and silicone everything and pop rivet everything together. For installation instruction purposes, I'm just going to leave all the masking on the flashing. So all the marks that we've made, we're just going to come back, drill an 1/8 inch hole for a pop rivet, one at the top and one at the bottom. And we'll just kind of work our way around the skylight, doing the same thing all the way around. Okay, so now that we have all of our holes for our pop rivets drilled, we're going to come back with the silicone, and all these corners get silicone down. want to make sure you get an ample amount on the tabs, both the top and the side. And you want to try and fill this gap in here as much as possible also. And once everything's silicone, you're going to set that in place. And take your 1/8 inch pop rivets and pop rivet everything in place. Sometimes you may have to chase a pop rivet hole a little bit. Now once you get that corner done, you want to do your center pop rivets. And then pop rivet all this in place. Like I said, not all of the corners are pop riveted and the closer's pop riveted to the sill in place. We're going to come back and screw the top part of the closure to the purlins. So for this part, all of our stuff comes pre-gasketed. It may be easier to take this gasket off for now just to get the screws into place. And these get screwed in, one at each corner and every 12 inches on center. And with these screws, they're a number 8 self-tapping screw, but it's always better to come in with a 1/8 inch drill bit and pre-drill everything. And you want to come in with your drill bit just above the screw boss. Alright, now that all your screws are pre-drilled, it's just a matter of coming back and putting the screws into place. And then it's just a matter of reinstalling this gasket. The gasket has a fat part. The fat part always goes to the outside. And then it's just a matter of continuing the same process all around the skylight. Now that we have the skylight frame completely assembled and ready for glazing, it's a good thing to walk around and just kind of visually check that all your rubber's in good shape and all ready to be glazed. All of the corners are cut together so everything looks nice. So then once after doing a quick visual inspection, it's time to start the glazing process. And for this, we're just going to do 2 panels just for a visual of how it's done. So we'll set our panels in place. Now that we have some panels in place, we're going to take our setting blocks and set at the outer 1/8 inch corners of the panels. Pull your panels down into place. Make sure they're evenly spaced on their afters. Then we're going to take some 3/8 backer rod and go along the bottom side of the panel between the panel and the sill closure. Kind of get it all stuffed in here into place. And you want to make sure you're about an 1/8 inch below the edge of the panel so you have a good silicone sill on everything. This may be kind of hard to see on camera with the angle and stuff of the backer rod, but you just want to get it all pushed in there. Then the next thing to do is to take some masking tape or some blue painter's tape and tape right on your edge of your sill closure and the edge of your glazing. So this is another thing you would do once you have all your panels in place. You would do this all the way around your skylight. Okay, so now we're ready to silicone everything. We've got our panels taped off, our backer rods in place. Now it's just a matter of filling this up with silicone. You can take a good bead about the size of your finger on here. So once you get silicone into here, best thing to do is take a little bit of soap, spray on here now, and another setting block, and just smooth this out. So you just want to do this all the way across your panel. And get a nice smooth edge on it where everything looks good. And then you can take your hand, a little bit of soapy water on it, come back and smooth all this out nice and smooth. And you want to come all the way to the corner of your panel. So just like that. And then once you have everything silicone and smoothed out, you just come back and you pull your tape off. And it leaves you with a nice clean edge of silicone on your panel and up against your sill closure. And you'll do that the entire way around the skylight. Now that you would have your glazings in place and your wet glazing done around the perimeter of your skylight, it would all look similar to this. The next thing is to take your compression caps, and there's an angled end that goes to the bottom, of course, and it sits over top of the screw boss in thereafter. And then these all take a screw. Okay, so then at that point, having the retainer all screwed into place, next thing is a snap cap. Just leave yourself about 1/8 of an inch down here for some silicone in a minute. Best thing to do is take a block of wood and a hammer, and this just gets snapped into place. Next thing, come back with a razor knife, cut the ends of your rubber back, and then fill all of this in with silicone. Smooth everything out, just take some soapy water. At this point, all of your retainers and your snap caps will be on. You want to take and run a bead of silicone around this part of your apex cap and then set it into place. And then once that's in place, you're going to come back and silicone all of this shut as well, all the way around. So this will get filled with silicone, and so will this. Also, after everything is silicone in place, you would also take an 1/8 inch pop rivet on 4 corners of this, so one here, one here, one here, and one here, just to hold it in place. For the last thing we need to do yet, we need to drill weep holes so the skylight, if there's any condensation that gets into the frame system or into the rafters, it's designed to come to the corners and drill out or weep out. So we're going to drill some 1/4 inch weep holes at the corners. So this has a 2-inch sill on it. This flashing is even with the bottom of the sill, so we're going to come up 2 inches, 2 1/4 inches actually, and make a mark, and come in 1 inch from the corner on both corners, both sides of the corner. Then we're going to come back with a 1/4 inch drill bit and drill the hole right there. And then you just do that all the way around the skylight at each rafter, and that completes the installation of the skylight.
Important note: Skyline furnishes all hardware necessary to assemble the skylight itself. Installation hardware from the skylight sill assembly downward, as well as all sealants, are provided by installer. Refer to Skylight shop drawing details for size and quantity of required installation fasteners. Unless noted otherwise, all sealant referred to throughout the installation shall be only DOWSIL 795 structural building sealant or an equivalent equal. This concludes the installation of your Skyline Skylight. If you have any questions or require any further assistance, please feel free to contact us and we'd be happy to assist.